Before we start deploying the dealer portal, make sure you have the following access. First, access to the Azure portal with an application developer role to create the app registration, the container registry, function apps and app services. And also make sure you have access to a subscription in which the Azure resources will be created. Next, have also access to the LCS in order to deploy the Annata portal service package into the FNO environment. And finally, have an access to the FNO environment with system admin role to configure the portal setup. So next we will go to the Annata Insider Portal Apps.com website in order to show us the process of deploying the dealer portal. So we click on the docs, the Annata 365 dealer portal, and then we'll click on administration, and then on the deployment guide. So the first process is we need to install the Annata 365 services package into the FNO environment. To do this, we need to go to the LCS environment where the packages are installed. Under the asset library, we click on the solution packages and then click on Annata 365 dealer portal versions and click on the latest version, get version. Next, click on the software deployable package and look for Annata 365 services. Click on it and click copy. Once the copy is completed, we need to go to the environment details in which the FNO environment is available. Then click on maintain, apply updates, we'll look for the Annata 365 services, which is the first one in this case. We'll click on it and then we'll click apply. Click yes, and then we'll click yes again. The installation process has begun and this might take some time, so we'll be back to the video after the installation is completed. Now that the installation is completed, we can go to the FNO environment and confirm if the services are already installed. We can go to the about and check in the versions. We'll look for Annata Dynamics IDMS services, so we can confirm that the installation is ready for the FNO part. So next part is we need to create let's register an app in the Azure portal. You can do that by going to the Azure Active Directory under the app registration. Click on new registration. Give it a name that you want. You can call it dealer portal. And you can click on the first option. It should be only for the organizational directory. And next we have to put the URL of the FNO. Copy the URL, paste. We need to append the O authentication as in the documentation here, and then we click on register. Once the registration is completed, we need to note down the client ID and the client secret in order to connect it with the FNO environment. So the client ID is this one. And to generate the client secret, we need to go to the certificates and secrets, new client secret. You can choose to make it expire on 1 year or 2 year or never, and just give it a name. Click on add, and we need to copy the value. This is the client secret. After registering the app, next we will configure the app in the Dynamics 365 FNO by going to System Administration, Setup, Azure Active Applications, create a new record, paste the client ID, and assign a user. Make sure that the user is in the legal entity that you want to add the dealer portal data. For example, if you are adding the entities in the DMF legal entity, make sure that the user is assigned in the DMF data entity. So here it's assigned as default DAT, so we need to change this to a DMF. So we completed this part. Now we will deploy the function apps. So to deploy the function apps, we need these 4 values: the FNO URL name, the tenant name, the client ID, and client secret. We already have these 2 values when creating the app, and we can get the tenant name from the Azure Active Directory in the overview. This is the tenant name. So we have all the value needed to create the function app, and we'll proceed to create deploying the Azure function apps by clicking on this link, which is an Azure template. We'll create a new Azure resource group. Select the region nearest to your place. This is the name of the Azure function that you want, or you can leave it by default. And here we'll paste the FNO URL. By default, the version of the function is 3. This is the latest function release. In the tenant, we'll add the primary domain value. In the client ID, we'll paste the client ID of the application. And in the client secret, we'll paste the client secret value. And then we'll click review and create. Once the validation passed, we're gonna click create. This deployment will create a storage account and a function app with an app plan. Now the deployment is completed. We can go to the resource group, and this is the storage account, and this is the function app that we created, and this is the app plan. Before deploying the dealer portal, we need to create an Azure container registry, which is recommended. So we'll We'll create a new Azure Container Registry. We'll create a separate resource group. We'll give a name of the registry. Create the region, and then review and create. Once the validation passed, we click on create. As you can see in the documentation, customers need to create a container registry in the portal and need to share the username and password with Annata, and then Annata will publish the latest version to the account which will be consumed by the app service. So we can go to the resource group, and this is the container registry that was created. And then next go to the access key and enable the admin user. So Annata will need the username and password in order to publish the dealer portal version. Once Annata publishes the latest version of the dealer portal to the Azure Container Registry, you can check the repository in the container that you have created under the repositories. And this is the repository that's created by Annata, and the tag name for the front-end, back-end worker, and API. So after the Annata publishes the latest versions, we need to deploy the dealer portal by using this link, which is specifically for the Azure Container Registry deployment. And then this page will be open, and then the resource group, we need to use the resource group for the Azure Container Registry that we have created in. So the resource group will be this one, dealer portal release. Next we need to put the value for the resource group for the Annata function apps that we have created, which will be dealer portal services. We copy this resource group name and paste, and Annata service function name, we need to copy the function name and put it in this value. The website name, you can give any name that you want for the front end. Which will appear in the URL. admin email. You can give an email that you want to use. I'll use admin at annata.net and give a password. Database edition, you can use a standard. This is the account name for the Azure account registry. And the password of the registry. Next is the repository name. Click on repositories. This is the repository's name. This is the version 1.6, which will be by default the latest one. Next will be the JW issuer. You need to put the tenant name, which is found on the Azure Active Directory. For the JW secret key, we can generate secret key by going to this website, all keys generator. We use a 256-bit with hex, enable to yes. Copy this value and paste it in the secret key. And then we'll click review and create to see if the validation passes. After it passes, then we create on click create. Once the deployment is completed, we can go to the resource group and see the resources that have been created. We have the backend API created, a backend worker. This is the front end, the URL that we have created, and the databases. So now we have successfully deployed the dealer portal. Next will be configuration part, which will be on this link. After completing the deployment, we need to do some configuration both in the Azure portal and D365 to get the dealer portal fully functioning. So we need to create the blob containers, and this can be created in the storage account that we have created, the function apps. So we can go to the resource group where the function apps are created, and we can go to the storage account, containers. In the storage account, go to the containers and create the following containers. You can start creating the device images. Click on new container and paste the name, and we can do that for the other container names. packing slips, return order attachments, claim attachments, claim invoices, and claim statements. Now go to access keys on the left panel and copy the connection string. So this is the access key. This is the connection string. Then we copy this value. So next we go to the backend API configuration, which is in the other resource group, the portal release. We go to the backend API, the settings, we click on configuration, and we click on show values. We'll paste the value in this name, connection string, Azure storage. Okay, and then we click on save. Next we have to put the value for the container names that we created in the storage account. So we go to the backend API and you can click on advanced edit, and for the device images, Azure storage container, the name is device images, so you put the name there. For the device invoice, we can use the sales invoice, the packing slip, and copy the value and put it under the packing slip container name. Next we have the parts invoice, the same with sales invoice, we use the same container name. For the return order attachments, this is the name that we gave. The warranty claim attachment, this is the name, copy this. Next, the warranty claim invoice, we paste it here, and then we have the statement. Then we click OK, we save our changes. All the values that we put are here listed. We have the password, email, after that we go to the FNO environment and set up the blob container Azure storage I go into the system administration, under the setup, other storage settings, and storage accounts. We create a new storage account here. This is the storage account that we have created. Paste, and we need the access key. We go to the access keys, the key, we copy the key value, paste it here. Next, we need to set up the blob containers. Click on new. This is the storage account that we created, and we need to paste the names, the name of the container that we created earlier. Sales invoices with the storage account name. Packing slips. Return order attachments. All the claim attachments. Claim statement. Then we create the member by navigating the organization administration, dealer setup, members, and then we can go to the dealers and link the member there. Admin is already linked, and then we go to the parameters, blob containers. For the sales invoice, this is the blob container in the Azure. Device images, packing slip, this is the name that we gave, packing slips. Warranty claim invoice, warranty claim invoices, warranty claim statement. We have the claim statements, warranty claim attachments, and return order attachments. Now we have set up all the containers. After that, we need to go to the organization administration and set up the document components to create the parts order, device order, and warranty and delivery. These are the channel adapters, event actions, case creation, documentary, delivery, all this. Case creation, delivery report, device creation, parts order, parts return, and warranty claim creation. Next we go to the event actions, which are those listed here: create case, create delivery, device, parts order, parts return, warranty claim. The viewers already set up, then we can go to document groups and create a JSON document group. Which is this part, and then we go to the action types. And we need to set up the event action and channel adapters that we have added. Document action type will be create case, .cc, create case. Document group will be the JSON. Direction should be inbound. Next, click on classes. We'll start creating the case create. Next, the channel adapter, integrated viewer. Then we'll create for the delivery report, usually called DRC, JSON, direction inbound. The event action is delivery report, channel adapter AMI delivery report, and viewer is integrated. And then we'll do the same for device order create, JSON, inbound, device order document adapter, integrated. And then for parts order create, POC, JSON, inbound, parts order document adapter, integrated. Next one is the parts order create, parts return order, JSON, inbound, parts return order create, and the same integrator. And the last one, warranty claim create. This will be the same for all. Event action for warranty claim will be AMI warranty claim create, channel adapter AMI, and view is integrated. We already have set this storage account in block containers, these two. So next we'll set up the void. To set up the void, we will need to bring the connection string from the backend API or the worker. We need this connection string void. Copy this one, We need to go to data management, workspace, go to configure entity export, create new source. We'll give it the name for dealer portal. Uncheck this, set it to no, and paste the connection string, and then click on validate. And then we need to refresh the data entity. I go into the framework parameters, entity setting, refresh entity list. Then we go back to the entity export to database, and we click on publish, and we'll wait until the entity list is refreshed to publish the entities listed here. Once the refresh is completed, we proceed by publishing the dealer portal entities that are listed here. We'll start publishing this. Select the entities, click on publish. Successfully published. We need to publish this entity one by one. Next, dealers. Publish members. Dealer member. Financing customer. And we have the parts. Next we have the device. We need the device brand, device class, device exteriors, device interior, device usage group, and we have the dealer device, life cycle setup, and the dealer portal device order status. Next we have this operation code, return reason code, warranty claim groups, warranty claim groups. We have the resolution, response, failure, response, resolution. Next we will enable the change tracking to allow the incremental push for all the published entities. For each of the entities, once we enable the change tracking for all the entities, we need to create an export jobs in order to export data entities. So click on export, and each entity is grouped into an export job. We'll give the name for the first group the dealer setup, the project integration. Under the dealer setup we have these entities, so we will add these entities there. Target format is the dealer portal. And we'll continue doing for the other entities. The dealers members entity, we have the dealer member, and the financing customers. We save it, and we have created dealer setup. We will do the same for the transactional data group and create a new export. The category integration, Once the setup is done for the export jobs, you'll see them listed here, and you can go ahead and export the entities by clicking on export. This will export the data to the dealer portal. To set up the email to invite users, we need to configure the backend worker, and we recommend to use the Office SMTP. So we go to the configuration, in the backend worker, show values, and we need to change this value to Office SMTP. And then we need an email with the multi-factor authentication disabled, and we put the email value here in this field, sender email, with its password. We add it in this value, and the port usually is 587, and the host will be smtp.office365.com. Then after adding the email and the password and the port number, we need to click save and continue. Then we can go back to the resource group and click on the dealer portal release, and we can log in to the portal.